Just one item before we start. We typically have our agendas, several copies of our agendas on the podium in front of you. However, unfortunately, we didn't bring them tonight. We're going to bring them over shortly. But in the meantime, you can access our county website to see what the agenda is on there. It's right on our website, so we do apologize, but we'll have the agendas up on the podium shortly after the meeting begins. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Putnam County Legislature. This evening on April 1st, 2025, please rise and the pledge of allegiance, etc. Please lead the allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remain standing. Legislative College, please lead to the legislative prayer.
We seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
District 1, Legislator Montgomery. Present. District 2, Legislator Goldman.
Present.
District 3, Legislator Adams.
Present.
District 4, Legislator Russo.
Present.
District 5, Legislator Elman.
Here.
District 6, Legislator Youngkin.
Present.
District 7, Legislator Remington.
Here.
District 9, Legislator Crowley.
Present.
District 8, Sheldon Sage.
Present. Next on the agenda, we have several proclamations. I'd like to invite Legislator Goldman up to present Alcohol Awareness Month.
Thank you. Is Sarah, Commissioner of DSS here? April is Alcohol Awareness Month. Alcohol is the most commonly used addictive substance in the United States today. 28.8 million adults ages 18 and older suffer from some form of alcohol use. Underage alcohol use presents an enormous public health issue, and alcohol is the most usable substance among young children and adults. Annually, approximately 3,600 youth under the age of 21 die from motor vehicle crashes, other types of injuries associated with alcoholism, homicides, suicides, and all associated with underage drinking. 140,000 people die each year from alcohol-related causes: drinking and driving, driving while intoxicated, accidents, falls, fires, alcohol-related homicides, and suicides. The 2024 Prevention Needs Assessment Survey reports that 34% of Putnam 12th graders have used alcohol in the last 30 days. That's a lot. Alcohol-related problems cost Americans $249 billion in lost productivity, absenteeism, healthcare costs, crime, and family-related problems. Putnam County Executive and the Putnam County Legislature do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Alcohol Awareness Month. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank the Putnam County Legislature for this recognition for April as Alcohol Awareness Month. This is an incredibly important proclamation because so many of our Putnam County residents are affected by alcohol misuse, whether it's the individuals who are diagnosed with substance use disorder, alcohol use disorder, or their families or the community that surround them. As the dual recovery coordinator here in Putnam County, I'm often in front of large audiences and I ask the questions, what substances are using the most, or what substances are causing the most fatalities across the nation? And 9 times out of 10, they'll say things like opioids or prescription pain medications, THC, things like that. And while those substances are very concerning for other reasons, alcohol is a substance that our teens are using the most, and alcohol is what is causing the most fatalities in our community. So again, this proclamation is so very important because it brings this awareness and it helps us understand how alcohol affects our community And it allows us to address stigma against people who use substances and people who use alcohol. So I have a little call to action asking us all to take some time this month in April as Alcohol Awareness Month and educate ourselves on how alcohol is impacting our community and to make ourselves knowledgeable about the resources that we have here in Putnam for prevention, education, recovery support, harm reduction, treatment. We have Kristen McConnell from the Prevention Council here, one of the wonderful resources that we have here in Putnam, and wanted to give her a second to say something.
Thank you. Hi, everyone, and thank you, Legislator Bowman and the Putnam County Legislator. I mean, I think you summed it up with all the facts. I'll just reiterate for those of you that didn't hear Legislator Bowman, 1 in 3 12th graders in this county reported drinking in the past 30 days. That's a pretty high statistic. So we're here tonight to raise awareness about it. We don't want to forget about alcohol. Sometimes we get a little bit distracted. There's a lot of substances young people are using, and it's really important we don't forget the #1 used substance in this community is alcohol. So anything we can do to raise awareness about underage drinking and reduce stigma is what is really important. So thank you all. Thank you.
You have 9 of them, Eric. Thank you. Next, I'd like to recognize Legislator Yonke to proclaim April as Autism Acceptance Month. Legislator Yonke. Yeah, come on, guys.
Change my mind. Okay. As the parent of an autistic teenager, this is a meaningful proclamation for me, and this is the last time I get to give it, so it comes from the heart. Autism spectrum disorder is a neurodevelopmental disorder affecting 1 in 36 children and 1 in 45 adults in the United States today. Individuals with autism are integral members of our communities, contributing their talents, insights, and passion to all aspects of society. April provides a dedicated time to celebrate the achievements and contributions of people with autism and to address the challenges they may face. Now therefore be it resolved that the Putnam County Executive and the Putnam County Legislature do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Autism Acceptance Month, and that during this month we reaffirm our commitment, along with local service providers, schools, and organizations, to promote equality and inclusion by actively working to remove barriers and creating equitable opportunities for autistic individuals in all aspects of life. We foster understanding and acceptance by promoting education and awareness via events like the Putnam County Autism Awareness Walk. Advocate for accessibility by supporting and implementing accessible environments and resources that meet the diverse needs of autistic individuals. Would you like to take it? Would you like to say a few words?
Let's say. Do you want me to step in, maybe? Help you a little? So I'm the coordinator of the Putnam County Office for Individuals with Disabilities, and I just wanted to say thank you to Legislator Yonke and to our entire Putnam County Legislature for the support for this month as Autism Acceptance Month. We really appreciate the services that our community providers here do to support all of these individuals. We have community-based services, and we have the ARC Mid-Hudson present, and these individuals receive services from their organizations. And I also wanted, we do have such a large crowd tonight, this gives us a perfect opportunity to really raise acceptance within the community. We do have a walk coming up on April 26th from 11 to 2 at Tilly Foster, and we would really enjoy if all of you would come out and participate.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Next, I would like to recognize Legislator Adenisia to present a proclamation for April as Child Abuse Prevention Month.
We have the Director of Child Advocacy Center, Maria. Hi, Maria, how are you?
The majority of child abuse cases stem from situations and conditions that are preventable in an engaged and supported community. Communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and families. The Child Advocacy Center of Putnam County, Department of Social Services, Child Protective Services, Child Welfare Services, Legal Division, and Safe Harbor of Putnam County are deeply committed to serving child abuse victims and their families with sensitivity, understanding, and compassion, and providing services necessary to help healing begin. The Advocacy Center of Putnam County, Department of Social Services, Child Protective Services, Child Welfare Services, Legal Division, and Safe Harbor, especially this month, should be commended and recognized for working with schools, faith communities, civic organizations, law enforcement, and the business community to implement prevention programs to ensure the physical, mental, and emotional health and well-being of the children of Putnam County. Be it resolved, the Putnam County Executive and the Putnam County Legislature do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Putnam County and acknowledge that we must all work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. Yesterday we planted pinwheels, a pinwheel garden that I think we do every year by Lake Lanai in front of Sybil Ludington. So anybody that passes by and sees all the pinwheels, how many do we have?
About 800.
800 we planted. And we had to dodge some goose. Just a little. So I just want to thank you for everything you do, and this does bring awareness to the community.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to stand up here and accept this on behalf of all the people in our county who are working around the clock to protect our children. We, on an average, 1 in 7 children will experience abuse and neglect each year. I think we all can say you know 7 people in your life, so child abuse is preventable though, and we thank Legislature for bringing awareness to this important cause. And I encourage you to each go home if you have a child in your life and give them a hug and let them know you love them.
Thank you. Next, I would like to recognize Legislator Russo for a proclamation proclaiming April 2025 as Donate Life Month.
April 2025 Donate Life Month. Through their membership in the New York State Association of the Counties, New York counties have come together collectively to support several important causes. In New York State, there are approximately 7,881 people waiting for an organ transplant, which represents the 3rd highest need in the nation. There are an estimated 500 New Yorkers that die every day while waiting for an organ transplant. A single individual's donation of heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, pancreas, and a small intestine can save up to 8 lives. A donation of tissue can save and heal the lives of 75 others. The Putnam County Clerk's Office, through its Department of Motor Vehicles, wishes to promote the month of April 2025 as Donate Life Month. Putnam County calls on the residents to join New York State Donate Life Registry. Therefore, be it resolved that the Putnam County Executive and the Putnam County Legislature hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Donate Life Month. in Putnam County and encourage county departments involved in providing information on organ and tissue donations and enroll residents in the program and activities throughout the month to increase the number of donors. Thank you.
New York, which is the organization that facilitates transplantation here in this work with New York. Our deepest thanks to obviously the county legislature, the county executives, but also Quick Ally. We couldn't have a stronger ally and supporter, again, whether it be public motor vehicles or elsewhere, honestly, tirelessly advocating on behalf of the organ donation cause. And as you've heard, it's really something itself that's as simple as checking a box when you go to the DMV that will allow anyone to basically save the lives of individuals and improve lives through whether that be burn victims, performing the local gift to site, a very simple effort, a very simple task. And I feel as though I'm preaching to the choir, because here in Putnam County, we're very fortunate to have many folks who do sign up to become donors. However, that's not the case throughout the rest of New York State. So generosity, kindness, and selflessness is greatly appreciated. So thank you to all of you who have signed up. If you have not yet, please think about it next time you're visiting the clerk at the DMV.
Just remember, real ID deadline, I'll give you a 2-for-1. So the real ID deadline is May 7th. So if you need to upgrade your driver's license and you come to the DMV, please, it comes up on the customer-facing device now, so that little tablet, when you're at our counter, please consider becoming an organ donor. That gift saves so many lives. So thank you for listening. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Now I'd like to recognize Legislator Crowley to present a proclamation for April 20th, 2025 as Healthy Teen Brain Day.
I have Commissioner Sarah Servio and Kristen McConnell, the Executive Director of the Prevention Council, please. We don't have any guys. Thank you so much. Our youth are our greatest joy and our hopes for the future, so it is necessary for us to support them in making safe and healthy decisions. The majority of our youth are making very healthy and safe decisions to remain marijuana-free and providing leadership in their schools and communities to help other youth remain marijuana-free. There's a strong objective evidence that marijuana is harmful to the adolescent brain with the potential to cause distorted perception, difficulty with thinking, and problem solving. It is with special pleasure that we join with the youth and adult leaders of the Carmel Communities That Care Coalition in celebrating Healthy Teen Brain Day to applaud and support our youth who are making healthy decisions. And whereas, on behalf of the residents of Putnam County, we're pleased and proud to join all associated with the inception of Healthy Teen Brain Day and urge all residents to acknowledge this very important day. Now be it resolved that the Putnam County Executive and the Putnam County Legislature do hereby proclaim April 20th, 2025 to be Healthy Teen Brain Day in Putnam County, and proudly join my fellow residents in making this very special, marking this very special occasion. You ladies, you do an amazing job with our youth. I have 4 young minds that are going to be molded by you guys, I'm sure, at some point, if not already. So thank you for all you do, and if you'd like to say a few words, we'd love to hear.
Sure, thank you. It's me again, Kristen McConnell from the Prevention Council. Thank you all for this recognition. I'll just say that Healthy Teen Brain Day is not a national recognition. It's something that is a little bit more grassroots here in Putnam. And a few years ago, we came to the legislature with this concept. For those of you that don't know, April 20th or 420 is actually a national day to get high. And what we decided to do was make it a little bit more about young people and raising awareness about healthy teens and the adolescent brain. So I will just read to you a couple of facts. So by proclaiming this day as Healthy Teen Brain Day, we are shifting the focus to raising awareness about health risks associated with youth marijuana use and reinforcing the importance of prevention. Research shows that early substance use can have lasting effects on brain development and mental health and future success. By prioritizing prevention efforts and increasing awareness, we empower teens to make informed decisions that support their health and well-being. We deeply appreciate the legislature's commitment to fostering a healthy future for our youth and ensuring they have the resources and knowledge to thrive. So if you leave here with anything tonight, the adolescent brain is not developed until age 25. So the more substances that adolescents put in their bodies before then, the more likely they are to have unfortunate consequences later on. So please help us in raising awareness about 420 and making it about healthy decisions and not about getting high.
Thank you. I'd like to now recognize Legislator Birmingham, recognizing National Library Week 2025.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do we have anybody from the libraries here? If you would, please step up. Thank you all for being here. And first of all, folks, mark your calendars. April 6th through the 12th, next week, is National Library Week nationally, but also right here in Putnam County. As we all know, Putnam County is served by so many of our libraries. We have one in each town, essentially. We have the Reed Memorial Library and the Mayapack Library here in Carmel. We have two in Phillipstown, and also we have the Kent, Patterson, Putnam Valley, and Southeast Brewster libraries. And they do so much for not only reading and education, but libraries are so much more. And the county legislature, we have a proclamation here that's signed by our county executive and our chair of our county legislature, recognizing National Library Week 2025 as April 6th through the 12th. That's this coming Sunday through next Saturday. And I'd encourage people to get out and visit our libraries. There's so much in our libraries beyond just books. I know I visit not only the Brewster Library, but also Mayapack Library quite often. Anybody here from Mayapack Library? We have the Greg Amato exhibit still on. It's a historic exhibit about Carmel's history, Putnam County's history. I encourage you to go down and see it. And what I'd like to do is present this proclamation to this group. But if I could, I'd like each of you to introduce yourselves and tell us which library you're from. And if anybody, one or two people, want to get up and talk about their individual library, we'd love to hear it. So why don't we start here, sir, with you, and tell us your name and library.
Okay, Joe Montori. I'm a trustee at the Mayapack Public Library.
Nancy DiMaggio, trustee at the Mayapack Public Library.
Marie Stahl, trustee at the Mayapack Library. Kathleen Zachowitz, Brewster Library. Kathleen Catalano, Brewster Library.
I'm Amina Chaudhry from the Putnam Valley Library.
Gina Lorenzo from the Brewster Library.
Stephanie Harrison from the Patterson Library.
George Lisbrown, Patterson Library.
Ava Rogers, Kent Public Library. Jessica McMath, also Kent Library.
Donna Crowley, also Kent.
Great. Let's give them all a big hand. Please.
Okay, I just want to thank the legislators for letting us have the opportunity to come tonight. We really appreciate it. We feel very honored. And I just want to mention that, there are a lot of libraries in this county, and we all offer something different. So, you might not think you get free food at your library, or borrow a museum pass and go to the Met, or print out something. Maybe your computer at home isn't working. You can use a printer or copy fax scanners. Plus, we have, of course, old-fashioned books and movies. We have a lot of digital resources. So I hope you'll, go to your library regularly. I hope you'll check out your library. You might find something new that you didn't know that they had in stock. So, thank you.
Most, if not all, the libraries are online as well. You can access them.
Yeah, you can get the digital resources if you like to read on a Kindle or a Nook or on your iPhone. Yeah.
Thank you, folks, so much. Let's give them another big round. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Slap it.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to recognize Legislator Montgomery, proclaiming April 13th to the 19th, 2025 as National Telecommunicators Week.
Thank you. As a former EMT and a dispatcher for a brief period of time, I thank Chairwoman Sage for allowing me to give this proclamation as Commissioner Lipton here. No, but that's okay. We've got some important business actually on the agenda regarding this tonight, so I'm happy to support EMS in any way I can and proclaim that April 13th through the 19th is National Telecommunications Week. because Putnam County answered 83,201 calls for help, and they dispatched fire, EMS, and police agencies more than 24,000 times during 2024. Emergencies occur, and prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical for the protection of life and preservation of property. The safety of our police officers, firefighters, and EMTs and paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Putnam 911 Communication Center. Emergency service dispatchers are the first and most critical contact of our citizens with emergency services. They are the single vital link for police officers and firefighters. Dispatchers of the Putnam 911 Communication Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals and exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job over the past year. Therefore, be it resolved that Putnam County Executive and Putnam County Legislature do proclaim the week of April 13th through the 19th to be National Telecommunications Week in Putnam County in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our county and its citizens safe. Thank you all in emergency response. And thank you, Putnam County.
Next, I would like to present a proclamation for Peers Influence Peers Partnerships. Is anyone here from Peers? I'm not sure if Stephen Lichko is here. If not, I'll just tell you all a little bit about Peers Influence Peers. It's a program here in Putnam County that helps our school students. The use of alcohol and illegal drugs causes serious health, social, and educational problems for our young people here in Putnam County. 1 in 4 high school girls will suffer from an abusive relationship before they graduate. That's done. It has been empirically proven that substance abuse is significantly involved in 3 leading causes of death for our young people: car crashes, homicides, and suicides. And it is also a major factor in school dropouts, violence, and vandalism, as well as HIV/AIDS, teen pregnancy, rapes, and sexual assaults. The recent upturns in drug and alcohol usage, as documented in state and national surveys, show that we must target effective prevention strategies at key populations, such as middle school and high school. Peers Influence Peers addresses these issues, and they have demonstrated a great deal of initiative and sophistication in developing proactive media messages against dating, domestic violence, as well as alcohol and other drug use. Resolved that the Putnam County Executive and the Putnam County Legislature hereby recognize April 2025 as Peers Influence Peers Partnership Month, and hope that this declaration and a joint effort of all agencies and authorities that we've heard here tonight, and to encourage young people to help others by encouraging them to live safe and healthy lives. May one day rid our children and our children's children of the scourge of drug and alcohol abuse. And I'd like to thank Peers Influence Peers for all their work. Very useful. Thank you. And now I'd like to recognize Legislator Elmer. He will recognize April 2025 as Teen Driver Safety Awareness Month. Legislator Elmer.
If Under Sheriff Linder is in the room, please.
The leading cause of accidental deaths to our youthful population throughout the United States are automobile accidents. Analysis shows us the reasons for these injuries include crashes, which are caused by driver inexperience, excessive speed, unnecessary risk-taking, inattentive driving, and the use of alcohol and drugs. We have too often experienced the tragedy of the death of a teen driver at the wheel. All accidents are preventable, and crash rates can be lowered through the use of education and awareness programs. Law enforcement, our schools, youth service organizations, the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Junior ROTC, Civil Air Patrol, and of course the Putnam County Sheriff's Office Cadet Program, just to name a few. So be it resolved that the Putnam County Executive and the Putnam County Legislature do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Teen Driver Safety Awareness Month in Putnam County. We encourage all levels of government, our school districts, law enforcement, our churches, synagogues, our youth service organizations, and all the citizens of Putnam County to support programs that promote teen driver safety awareness in Putnam County, thereby protecting one of our most precious resources.
Sheriff McConnell would like to thank you within the legislature for this proclamation. And also, he says, it's not about writing tickets, it's about education. And everybody that you mentioned in that proclamation is involved in the education part of teen driving safety. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is item number 4, which is correspondence from our county auditor. There was no activity during this reporting period. Moving on to our pre-filed resolutions. I would like to recognize Chairman Yonke of the Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Chairwoman Sage. On behalf of legislators Adjournment, Bullman, and myself, I'd like to move forward with agenda item 5A. It is a budgetary transfer for real property. It's for a temporary position.
Is there a motion to add? I'll make a motion to add.
Discussion.
Excuse me. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Item 5B is the approval, budgetary transfer. Social services reclassification, temporary youth aid to part-time youth program specialist.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Item 5C is the approval of a budgetary transfer of social services. It's a pay differential for the coordinator of child support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, I would like to recognize Chairman Yonke, Chair of Protective Services.
Thank you, Chairwoman Sage. On behalf of legislators Adjournment, Birmingham, and myself, I'd like to move forward with item 5E. It's the approval of a grant application for social services in the Sheriff's Office, Bureau of Justice Assistance. It's for fiscal year 2025, Connect and Protect, Law Enforcement Behavioral Health Response Program.
Discussion. Legislator Adjournment.
I just wanted to mention there is no fiscal impact, as this is a non-action grant.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to recognize Chairman Birmingham, who's Chair of Rules, Enactments, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. We have one item of the agenda for the Rules Committee tonight. On behalf of myself and legislators Elner and Goldman, I'd like to move forward item 5E. This is an approval for a budgetary transfer to the Putnam Arts Council. It will be moving $13,993 from subcontingency into the county contribution line in our operating budget. If I could begin a brief discussion on this. We did have a very helpful, I think, very positive meeting of the Rules Committee this past month, in where we had a vigorous discussion on the great things that the Putnam Arts Council does on behalf of the people of Putnam County. These funds are used to fund cultural and artistic happenings and events throughout the county, And this money is going to be used this year to continue that process where the Putnam Arts Council, on behalf of the county, will for free vet and look through and choose from many applicants who will help enrich our culture here in Putnam County, whether it be through the Cold Spring Dance Company, which got $1,000 last year from this program, the Tompkins Corner Cultural Center. They had their annual memorial concerts. We had something in Cold Spring last year for the St. Mary's at the Highlands. And essentially the money goes throughout the county. And part of the discussion that was held in our March meeting sensitized a lot of us to this. And there was a lot of good discussion. I think one of the things everybody agreed on is that the Putnam Arts Council does a great service for Putnam County in helping us distribute these funds. I would be remiss if I didn't mention some other concerns people had, people who have, I think, legitimate concerns in that they aired them. While honest and honorable people can disagree among friends. Perhaps there was an instance last year where money was spent in a way that perhaps we're going to correct this year. And I know there's some safeguards that are going to be put in place that won't happen. It was not spent incorrectly, I should correct myself, but it was money, there was no granted program that was, all the granted programs were county dollars. So it's a good program. I'm happy to support this at almost a $250 million budget. I think we can spend $14,000 on these very worthy arts programs, and I look forward to supporting this program again in the future and this year. And like I said, last year's events were top-notch. All of the granted events were your tax dollars at work and spent for good purposes. So on behalf of the committee, I'd like to move this.
Discussion. Legislator Montgomery.
I just want to re-clarify again, there was no misuse of money.
It was not an excuse.
The money was granted and vetted extensively, and there is a very rigorous process for which this money is given to the Arts Council, and they just distribute it to $13,993 distributed amongst probably 8 to 12 organizations throughout the county. I want to thank the Arts Council for coming here no less than 6 times over the course of, since October, to sit at our hours-long meetings and discuss what this money and educate the legislature on what this money is used for. The arts are, an investment in humanity in our communities. Not only do they represent throughout New York State 7.5% of our state's GDP, 483,424 jobs. They contribute $119.9 billion to New York's economy, which represents the 7.5 million. They're essential to our identity. Arts organizations help every sector of people throughout our communities. I recently had the good fortune of working with an arts program that brings music and songwriting to our veterans and our combat veterans in a wonderful retreat setting. So I'm really happy to see this money go to the Arts Council. I really think they deserve more because what we get back as a community is far more than this $13,000. Thank you.
I would like to re-echo, every penny was spent appropriately.
Any further discussion? I'd just like to say that this amount was approved in the budget process last year. We've been providing and distributing this funding for the past decades. Public art provides cultural, social, and economic value to our entire community. This money provides small grants, as Legislator Birmingham has stated, to arts and cultural organizations, and is program-oriented. If the organization does not provide the program they were contracted to perform, they must return the money. This funding does not fund a particular organization, it's only used for the arts. Some organizations, as we have heard, who received the funding are the Putnam Chorale. Incidentally, Putnam Chorale is having a concert at St. James on April 26th down the street. Tompkins Corners, Arts on the Lake, Hudson Valley Shakespeare Festival, and other art organizations. Public funding of the arts promotes economic growth, educational enrichment, enhance civic engagement and cultural identity to our community. Any other further discussion? With that, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 5F. I'd like to recognize Chairwoman Adonisio from Health, Social, Educational, Environmental Committee.
Thank you, Chairwoman Sage. On behalf of legislators Elmer, Russo, and myself, I move to 5F, the approval of budgetary amendment to social services of the opioid settlement trust monies, which was discussed in health and reviewed in auditor. There is a zero fiscal impact.
Discussion. Legislator Montgomery.
This is, you know, if everybody's aware of these opioid settlement monies, this is a very, very sad way to receive money, you know, on the backs of a crisis that has devastated this entire country. And luckily, the monies that we're using in Putnam County are working. Our statistics have dropped. Less people are overdosing. The organizations that we have in this county that address these issues are by far the best in the world, I think. And I'm happy that we're redistributing this money to not-for-profit organizations throughout our county. I would like to see the process change in how it's distributed and reviewed. I know it is a rigorous process in-house with social services. I just think there needs to be some legislative oversight as to how this was kind of new this time around and how it happened. So I would like to have a little more explanation and exactly how it is distributed in the future.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Legislator Adonisio.
No, I just wanted to state the amount of $613,175. And we get little by little, the opioid settlement monies.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to 5G is approval of budgetary transfers for social services contracts. This is for the Resource Center for Accessible Living in the amount of $6,587, zero fiscal impact for 2025.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
5H is the approval for appointment to Putnam County Board of Health. Be it resolved that Teresa A. Burdick be appointed to the Putnam County Board of Health for a 6-year term to expire on December 31st, 2030. And be it further resolved, this appointment to comply with any requirements to file an oath of office pursuant to the New York State Public Officers Law. I'd just like to say I appreciate your dedication to the well-being of our community. And Teresa has dedicated her career to those struggling with developmental disabilities as well as substance use disorders. So I would like to thank her for her commitment and service on the Board of Health.
Discussion. I'd like to thank all of our volunteers who serve on these boards, especially the Putnam County Board of Health, and thank them for all they do. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, I'd like to recognize Chairman Elmer, Fiscal Services Committee.
Thank you, Chairwoman Sage. On behalf of myself and fellow legislators Crowley and Yonke, we have 3 budgetary transfers. The first transfer is 25A023 from our planning department. This is New York State Department of Transportation. It's an agreement where we are receiving modernization and enhancement program fundings. This is an inflow of $551,037 with no fiscal impact for 2025 and 2026.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Next is item 5J, which was approved in Fiscal Services. It's a budgetary amendment, 25A024. It's from Soil Water Conservation District performance measures. These are Part C funds that are being used for 3 purposes: education and training, other equipment, and a general contingency.
Discussion. Legislator Montgomery.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the resolution and decrease it by $8,000 to read $35,000, taking out the education and training for $8,000. This position is already in our regular budget, given education and training, and the backup material for this education and training, there's really not enough detail in the backup for this $8,000. Lake Conference seed examples, we've been told, doesn't exist. We're not doing that program this year. The county, what material for education and training is going to be used at the county fair at Veterans Memorial Park, and what material is going to be used for DPW safety days and MS4 outreach April and September. How many days are they? How much is needed? As I said in committee, that's probably a matter of 6 or 7 days for $8,000. I ran a campaign last year and distributed buttons, bags, t-shirts, palm cards, website for an entire year, and that was $4,000. So if this is material like that for a campaign to advertise and educate about the program, I don't have enough detail, and I don't think it's going to cost $8,000. And one item doesn't exist that's on here.
Okay, so we have a motion to amend to remove education and training, the amount of $8,000. Is there a second? Seeing no second, I'll go back to discussion for this particular item.
Can I make a motion to table the $8,000 and bring it back to committee so we can discuss it and get more information?
You can always bring it up again, and it'll be resubmitted.
I'd like to make a motion to get more information on the exact materials. This is the first year we've been asked for it. CEPA program is not going on right now. So I do think it's fair and fiscally responsible of us to find out what materials are being purchased through the Commissioner of DPW and Stormwater, and find out what we're actually purchasing. We request that from all other departments as well.
Just clarification from our legislative council. Yes. Do we have to divide the question to go line by line or can we just make a motion to table that one particular item? That's just one clarification on that, so we can all make sure we're going properly.
Given that it's only a portion of it, it would make sense to divide it and then to table the part that's divided.
So I'll make a motion to divide, and I need a second.
Second that.
Okay, and then can I make a motion to amend to that?
We need to vote on the motion before I say.
Sorry.
So the motion is to divide the question into, we're splitting $8,000 out, and then we're putting.
Yes, it was discussed in committee, so I think Legislator Elmer even brought it up as well as a concern.
Okay, so I just want to be clear. We're dividing the question, voting to divide the question, pulling out $8,000 and
for more information.
Yeah,
and bring it back to.
I understand. I'm just trying to make sure we have the proper amounts, and then leaving $15,000 and $20,000 together, and that has been seconded by Legislator Montgomery. So I will have a roll call vote to divide the question. This is motion to divide the question. Roll call vote to split the question.
No,
No,
it's
just
just
split.
simply to have.
Just split, just to divide the question.
To have two motions, 5J1, 5J2.
Legislator Adamson.
Yes.
Legislator Guardianship.
Yes.
Legislator Crowell.
Yes.
Legislator Elmer.
Yes.
Legislator Bowman.
Yes.
Legislator Young.
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
Yes.
Chairwoman Sayers.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, so we've successfully divided the question, so now we'll vote on each item separately. We'll vote on agenda item, the $8,000 is 5J1, and the remaining of this resolution is 5J2. We'll start with 5J1.
Excuse me, just a clarification, voting on for the,
Tabling 5J1.
We're
making a motion on 5J1?
If I could, I understand.
Yes, please.
If I could understand what happened, where we are now is we have two resolutions before us. One for $8,000 and one for $35,000. So we have, in the chair, it's up to the chair, he's labeled the 8005J1, so perhaps that'll be the first resolution we'll consider.
Right.
And that resolution is subject to any sorts of amendments or up or down votes, or quite frankly, discussion.
Right. Right, so we're going to start with 5J1, which is education and training amount of $8,000. I'll make a motion to discussion. Okay, we'll do that. Legislator Crowley.
I just want to make sure we're bringing this back to committee, we're tabling it back to committee for further discussion.
You would like to make a motion to table this item?
I would like, yeah, I would like to entertain it because I think it's fantastic that we're giving information to the constituents, but I'd like to know more about what we're spending $8,000 on. Also, just to table it, get more information from DPW and Soil and Water, and table it back to committee.
Okay, so Legislator Crowley's made a motion to table 5J1. Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Legislator Montgomery, okay. Roll call vote to table $8,000 back to committee.
Legislator Edmondson.
Yes.
Legislator Carney.
Yes.
Legislator Crowell.
Yes.
Legislator Elman.
Yes.
Legislator Goldman.
Yes.
Legislator Yonke.
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, moving on to our next question. Agenda item 5J2. So, is there discussion on agenda item 5J2?
I'd just like to
Legislator
clarify,
Montgomery.
if I may, thank you.
Sure.
There's been a perception that this $20,000 from general contingencies is for a raise for the soil and water manager. It's not a raise. The soil and water manager received a raise last year, and we're allowed to, as part of Part C funding rules, to use some of that Part C funding for salary. I don't love the idea of it, but we did agree to do this. This is money that can go a long way with our farmers and projects that our farmers are obviously desperately interested in. So, but we have it here. I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that it wasn't a raise, because we've heard that and read it, and it's part of funding that we're allowed to use from Part C money for salary. Hope that makes sense.
Any further discussion? Legislator Crowley.
And I just want to let that leaves the remainder of the 35,000 on the state, so we're voting on 35,000 now.
Right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Last item for fiscal services, agenda item 5K, approval of budget transfer 25T062. This is a closeout of the capital projects, which the good men and women at DPW were able to bring in under budget. This is $307,737.33 that is being returned to the county's Facility Reserve Fund, DPW. Good going, DPW.
Thank you. Discussion. Legislator Russo.
I just want to say thank you to the DPW for all their hard work, because this is a huge win for Putnam County.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next, I'd like to recognize Chairman Goldman, as Chair of the Economic Development and Energy Committee.
Thank you, Chairwoman Sage. On behalf of the members of the Economic Development and Energy Committee, Legislators Birmingham, Elmer, and myself, I make a motion to move the following item. Item number 5L, approval budgetary amendment 25A022 for tourism. New York State has reduced the amount awarded to Putnam County for the Island of New York program by $9,192. The Director of Tourism has requested to transfer the county's matching portion of this $9,192 of the Island of New York funds into an advertising line with no fiscal impact at all moving forward on this.
Discussion.
Legislator Montgomery.
Thank you. We had a kind of a round and around in committee regarding this. This is $9,000 that was allocated by the I Love New York program. The I Love New York program is only for advertising outside of the county. So we have, can only be used for that, can't be used for anything else, but we also have money in our tourism budget that can be used for other things. So I don't agree with taking over $9,000 out of the monies that we can use for other things, like help that I've been asking for our trampled villages, support for removing garbage, and support for tourism, because we're becoming more and more popular. We don't need advertising, we need help, we need lots of help. So I'm not in favor of this. I believe this $9,000 should not be put into the I Love New York budgetary line, because then it can only be used for advertising. That's the way I read it, that's the way I see it. They tried to explain it differently during committee. It makes no sense to me. Maybe there's another way for me to understand it, but for now, I'm not going to agree with it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you. And as chair of Audit and Administration Committee, I'd like to move forward agenda item 5M. This is for an approval for budgetary amendment 24A 139 from Finance for a year-end journal entry. This is cleaning our books and making journal entries for us. Accounting system discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 5N is an approval for budgetary amendment 25A 026. It's from the Department of Social Services. It's adoption and legal guardianship incentive fund for local departments of social services for recruitment activities. We desperately need foster care and adoptive parents in Putnam County, and this money is going to be used for that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And item 5O is an approval to rescind Resolution 74 of 2025 and approve a revised budgetary transfer from the Department of Finance for Civil Service Employees Association, CSEA contract settlement. Discussion. Legislator Crowley.
I have been very vocal about my willingness and responsibility that I feel that we got the 4 contracts rectified, and I'm very happy to see that all 4 contracts have now been fulfilled, and thrilled that they have been made whole, and appreciative of this legislature, of everybody who is involved, the county executive's office, and the stakeholders, and thank that hardworking men and women of this county for doing their job every day.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 5P is an approval to write off delinquent real property taxes. This is for the town of Patterson, tax map number 4.1-68. Discussion. This is simply a county item. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 5Q is an approval to write off delinquent real property taxes for the town of Patterson, tax map number 999.-99-102. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 5R is an approval to write off delinquent real property taxes for the town of Putnam Valley, tax map number 73.8-1-52. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Agenda item 5S is an approval for Putnam County's request for county sales tax rate to
to be established at a rate of 3.75% for the period from December 1st, 2025 through November 30th, 2028. Discussion. Legislator Crowley.
I'd like to make an amendment to bring it to the original 4%, so that would add an additional 1% on, because I feel that if we're going to do anything, it should be for the residents that live here, not people that come in from other towns to get a discount, and give back in other ways, whether it be to the towns or to their property tax. So I would like to make the motion to bring it to the additional 1%.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to amend county sales tax rate to be established at a rate of 4% for the same period. Is there a second?
I'll second
Discussion on 4%. Or do we have to vote on that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Roll call vote to
Discussion.
the 4%. This is on the 4%. There's a motion and a second. We're having discussion. Legislator Young.
Yes. I'll be voting against this motion. No, I'll just be voting against this motion, the motion to amend, excuse me. I've been involved in taxation in Putnam County since 1988, and we've watched property tax rates increase every year steadily, whether it's the county tax rate, the school tax rate, the town tax rates. I've always believed that if we had a chance to put money back in the pockets of our residents, we should do it. We now sit with a surplus of funds that allow us to do that. I think just a 0.25% is a step in the right direction. I don't think we should take money from our constituents when we don't need it. And I think that the original resolution is fair to our residents. And frankly, I think we have cut property taxes. We cut the levy for the last 2 years. It was my initiative to reduce the levy by $500,000 2 years ago, carried through last year. And I think we still have room to cut more property tax. So there's no reason why we can't do both. And I don't think, I'm going to reiterate, we shouldn't take money from our taxpayers when we don't need to. And if we can give it back, we should.
Yes.
Okay. Legislator Adamizia.
Thank you. This legislature has been committed to responsible financial management, keeping the tax levy down for the past 3 years, even when we had the option to raise it under New York State standards. Since 2023, there has been no sales tax on clothing or shoes under $110. If we implement a sales tax reduction for commodities, the anticipated loss in revenue from clothing and shoes is not a factor, as they are already exempt from the sales tax.
Any further discussion? Legislator Powell.
So at the last minute, I'm gonna repeat myself here, but we have the auditors here right now. We don't actually know what is tangible for us to do. This cut would be approximately $5 million, and it's not going back to all the taxpayers. It's going back to anybody who comes to Putnam County to shop. So if you drive to Dutchess to come here for the day, you get a tax break. If you're giving a tax break on sales tax, it's for anybody that comes here. If you're giving back to the local towns and giving back to their infrastructure, that cuts taxes for local towns. They don't have to go back and up their tax levy for their local taxpayers. We also just implemented 4 collective bargaining units. That's going to go up as well. We have CHIPS that are missing. We have FMAP that is missing. We don't know how many other federal funding and other positions that we're not going to get grant funding for that are ahead of us. And I really think we're diving into a main vein here that could put us into a very precarious situation that even the Commissioner of Finance has stated is uncharted waters that he's not comfortable with. I think the responsible thing to do for all of us is to give back to the actual people that reside here and that own property here.
that's who gets a tax break. And our taxes are the highest, not the percentage, but that we collect, but the actual percentage itself is one of the highest around. So that's who they see the most.
We discussed this a lot, and we have had input from our 5 towns. I think many are here. I think our mayors and supervisors and mayors from Nelsonville, IC, town supervisor, Phillipstown, Putnam Valley are here. We've received letters from them. We've received letters from chambers of commerce. We've received letters from our constituents, all supporting the 1%, temporary 1% extended increase in sales tax. Because we know that the probably top 4 items that generate sales tax on NYSDOT's sales tax 2024 sales tax report were restaurants and beverages and catering facilities and gas stations. Mostly a lot used by people who pass through this county, people who come here to spend their money, and we reap the benefits from that in the sales tax. And the sales tax has just increased, tripled over the years. I recall a conversation, one of these past most recent committee meetings, saying we're doing this because things have changed. They haven't changed since 2019. We've seen tens of millions in excess sales tax that we have not budgeted for. So we continue to see that. It's interesting because in those years, I actually voted against the sales tax increase because we didn't have buy-in from our towns to share sales tax, and we didn't have buy-in from a county executive. I think we'll definitely buy in from our towns and villages now to share, wanting us to share sales tax with them. We might have lukewarm appreciation from our county executive to start negotiations to share this with the towns and villages. They're the ones who hold the burden of generating the sales tax. They're the ones who pick up the garbage. They're the ones who provide and pay for the EMTs that respond to people falling off the mountain or falling on your sidewalk. And they're here tonight, and I think we owe it to them to listen to them. It's funny because in the past years when we've had this before us, since I've been on the legislature, our sitting legislators who were there vehemently said we had to pass this 1% increase. It would devastate the county if we did not pass that. So now, for some reason, our budget is not very different. It's different for them. They're voting against it, which to me is political gamemanship. They don't like the county executive. This is a way to bury him. With this temporary sales tax was introduced, we weren't experiencing substantial sales tax revenue that we see today. Up until 2019, the collection did not exceed projections. Now they continue to see projections. So despite repeated requests from local leaders and constituents for support in managing the increased burden on services, such as waste management, emergency response, and infrastructure maintenance, our municipalities receive no direct relief. They work on budgets that are tiny compared to our over $200 million county budget. I mean, we're working with, when I was on the town board, it was maybe a $17 million budget on the town board. The village maybe has a $3 million budget. So it's astounding that we wouldn't support this opportunity to finally share sales tax. And in order to do that, we need to extend the 1%. So I'll be voting in favor of extending it. Thank you for that long-winded.
Thank you, gentlemen. I've mentioned this many times before, and I'm going to mention it again. We've discussed this in this forum many times. We've talked about getting rid of 1%, we've talked about getting rid of 0.5%, then we went to 75%, now we're back up to the 1%. I'm very glad. I agree we should cut taxes. This year we can cut taxes. We have to figure out the best way to do this, though. This legislative body has cut taxes recently on clothing and footwear, was mentioned a moment ago, under $110, whether you buy it at a store or you buy it online. It went into effect March 1st, 2024, and it will continue until March 1st, 2026. At the February Audit Committee meeting, the Commissioner of Finance stated that as of February, residents have taken advantage of this and have saved $1.5 million for this tax reduction. That's great. That's a good thing, and I'm glad the residents are taking advantage of this. This was the first meaningful sales tax cut that we made in Putnam County. Over the past 15 years, Putnam County had traditionally used sales tax to lessen property taxes. Everyone I speak to throughout the whole county, not just in Putnam Valley, they say that their property taxes are too high. Their property taxes are too high. No one, never, has said to me, by the way, our sales tax is too high. Never. It's always our property taxes are too high. We did a survey recently. 72% of the respondents said that they want to lower property taxes. And 19% said they want to give some of the property taxes back to the towns the 6 towns that we represent here in Putnam County. Property taxes are paid not by are paid by the property owners. Sales tax are not just paid by residents, but they're paid by non-residents who come and shop into Putnam County and by residents. Out of every dollar of property taxes, school taxes take the largest percentage of our taxes. They take 7% of the bill. Putnam County government takes 9% of the bill. In Putnam County, we have some of the highest property taxes in the country. Part of the reason is Putnam County is only 9% is because we've done a great job over the years to keep costs down and to give the services that we need to give to the community. School district taxes are a whole different ballgame. They're too high. I don't want higher property taxes. I don't want higher taxes. I believe we pay too much taxes, whether it's a fee, whether it's a levy, whether it's a toll, whether it's an assessment, whether it's a contribution, or this new thing New York City's come up with, congestion pricing. It's ridiculous. We're paying too much to live here in New York, and the residents of Putnam Valley, the area I represent, and everyone in Putnam County will agree with me. Property taxes are too high. By not extending the 1% that we currently have, we're at risk. At the recent Audit Committee meeting, I asked the Commissioner of Finance a few questions. We've recently settled 4 union contracts. How much will that cost us in the next few years? He really couldn't give us an answer. But last month he said it's going to cost us $2 million. I asked him how much is the health insurance cost for Putnam County employees for the next few years. He couldn't give me an answer because he can't come up with that kind of answer. But the increase in premium from last year to this year was $878,337. Do you think that's going to go up or go down? It's going to go up. We all know that. We see it in our personal lives. I asked him how much will the Putnam County Employee Insurance Review Committee cost. That's a committee that the county has put together to review the percentage that the employees pay for health insurance. He couldn't give us an answer. Why? Because they haven't come up with that suggestion yet. That could be a few $1 million. We all know that the federal government is making cuts. We don't know what they're going to cut yet, but every day you hear cuts that are coming down from the federal government, which will go to the states, which will come down to the counties. The projected shortfall in New York State is looking at $6.2 billion for 2027 and $7.1 billion gap in 2028. If you don't think the state is going to cut us in some way, I don't really know what you're thinking about, but when they're that far in debt, they have to cut. There are a lot of unanswered questions here. I asked the commissioner, would it be irresponsible to cut this at this time? He says yes. He's the professional that deals with our finances here in the county. Before we went back to the 1%, the 0.25%, it would cost the county $5 million if we lost that 0.25%. And for each individual resident, it will be $25 or less. What can I tell you? I would prefer lowering property taxes for residents and giving some money back to the towns in some, from our sales tax, because the towns really need the money, because we have a problem here. There are infrastructure issues throughout the county that the towns have to deal with, and they do not have the money. We have to consider the long-term strength of Putnam County, not this election cycle, this week, next week. We have to think about the future, not short-term. So I will be supporting the 1%. Thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be voting against the amendment to go to the 1%. A lot of you are familiar with my position on this. It's not something new. As Legislator Montgomery mentioned, some of us over the last 20 years have gone back and forth on this issue. When this was first put forward in 2005, 20 years ago, I was on this legislature, and we went from 3% to 3.5 because the times were different at that time. We had to come and renew it again, and I think it was 2007 and 2008, and at that point, we asked for a little bit more. We asked for the additional 0.5% to bring us to the 4%. And when people ask what's changed, I think if we look back in history, we know a lot has changed. Primarily, if you look at the 2008 financial crisis, we actually started losing sales tax revenue. I was on this legislature when that happened. I was on this legislature when the county executive gave us a 40% tax increase budget, levy increase. There were some tough choices that were made back then. And did I vote at that point to keep it at 1%? You bet I did. I did that because I knew we couldn't survive a 40% real property tax increase. So where are we today? We're not in 2008. We're not in 2009. We're not even in 2005. We are sitting on top of the largest fund balance to budget ratio this county has ever seen. We are sitting on an unrestricted fund balance of $134 million. Our budget is huge. It's almost $250 million, $205 million. Half of that amount is sitting in fund balance, folks. Unrestricted fund balance. I think we can do everything Bill wants to do with respect to lowering real property taxes for the county taxpayer. I'm heartened when I hear our county executive talk about in the State of the County address, he's going to be pushing for the largest real property tax decrease this county's ever seen. I'm going to be a yes on that. I'm also in favor of the $110 for shoes and footwear and clothing. That's also a good thing to spend on. What we're talking about here is merely going down from 1% additional sales tax to 0.75. And that amount equals, as Aaron said, Legislator Crowley said, about $5.3 million. That's not chump change. That's a lot of money. I don't disagree. But it's a lot of money that goes directly back to the Putnam taxpayers, whether they're resident taxpayers or whether they're taxpayers paying the sales tax coming within and out of our county. I will state, like I stated at the audit committee meeting, if Putnam County was this retail mecca, if we were the kind of county that had a regional mall, if we were the kind of county that had people coming from far-flung places to spend on a lot of retail items, I might take a different position on this. And I know we do have a lot of tourism, and that does generate sales tax dollars. I don't disagree with you on that. But I don't think it's to the scale that would render my proposal to go to the 0.75 irrelevant. Just in 2024, we budgeted $7 million less in sales tax than we actually received. In other words, we received $7 million more in sales tax than we received. This would have been paid for by the excess sales tax that we received. So, I'm going to be voting against the amendment to go to the 1%. I think it's a modest step to go down to 0.75. I think it's good for the taxpayers, and I think it sends a message that we can do what we want to do with relieving Putnam County's tax burden. Not only with sales tax burden, but with $110, and also, and again, I'm going to be all in when the county executive comes to us with a real property tax increase. I think we can do all. I'm all of the above on this, so I would respectfully ask my colleagues to give this, as I know you have, give this serious consideration for 0.75. I think it's, 20 years of experience tells me there's never such a thing as a temporary tax. I was here in 2005 when this was called a temporary tax. We only needed it for the first 3 years. But of course, 2008 happened, and I voted for it then because things do change. We didn't have half of our budget as fund balance in 2005 or 2008. And then some other years I voted no. In 2011, I voted no. So yes, if you go back and forth on this, it's not a sign of hypocrisy. I think it's just a sign of dealing with what the facts are on the ground. So I respect everybody's opinion on this, but I'm going to vote against the motion to amend, and I'm going to give my full throated support to the 0.75. Thank you.
Anyone who has to spoken? Legislator Russo.
Thank you, Chairwoman. As a legislator, I firmly believe in reducing the sales tax burden to our residents. However, the proposal to cut Putnam County sales tax from 4% to 3.75 is not the right approach. While 0.25% may seem like a small reduction, the financial consequences for our county could be severe. Last year, sales tax revenue accounted for $79 million in our county budget. Reducing the rate by just 0.25% would take millions of dollars out of the county's budget, money that funds essential services, infrastructure maintenance, social programs. The reality is that sales tax isn't just paid by Putnam County residents. It's also collected by visitors and those coming through, visiting or tourism, or just driving through to stop and get gas. This makes one of the fairest ways to generate revenue without placing an additional strain on local homeowners. I believe in cutting taxes when it provides meaningful relief, but I have yet to hear from a single resident who couldn't make a purchase because of our current sales tax rate. In contrast, I've heard from many struggling under the weight of property taxes and school taxes. If we're serious about tax relief, we should focus on reducing the property tax burden, which directly impacts homeownership and affordability. Yes. Another debate surrounding sales tax revenue is whether the county should begin sharing it with towns and villages, something Putnam has never done before. While I understand the desire to provide additional resources to local governments, I'm cautious. Simply opening the floodgates for increased spending. If we do decide to share sales tax revenue, it should be done responsibly. Towns and villages should be required to specify how the funds will be used, ensuring the money leads to actual tax relief for their residents rather than growing government budgets. Before making major financial commitments, we must first navigate uncertain fiscal waters, including the threat of recession, potential renegotiation of employee medical benefits, and the year-over-year cost of our union contracts. Once we have a clearer picture of our financial position, then we can consider revenue sharing, so long as it's structured in a way that benefits taxpayers, not government coffers. Thank you, Chairman.
Hasn't had the opportunity to speak. I'd like to put in my 2 cents. So everybody wants to hear it. First of all, the discussion tonight is to ask the state to approve extending Putnam County sales tax for an additional 3 years. We have an amendment before us bringing it to 4%. This in no way affects the town's abilities to petition for sales tax sharing for the county. For the county to come up with a plan in the future to do so with input from the public. If there is an appetite from the administration or this legislature to consider sharing sales tax, I look forward to those discussions and hearing what everyone has to say. There's many different ways we could do that if we choose to do that. But that's not why we're here tonight. We're here to discuss the additional tax rate to the county. I've always been in favor of the full 1% increase.
in our county sales tax to help offset property taxes. At the audit committee, I moved the 1% increase to be voted on at our previous full legislative committee meeting. As the county executive discussed at his State of the County address, in his own words, quote, county government has consistently cut taxes, driving the property tax rate to its lowest levels in 18 years. And I'm proud as a legislator to be part of the team over the past several years in helping to lower the burden of property tax to all our Putnam County homeowners. As we all know, county property taxes add up to be less than 10% of your total property tax bill. The majority of that bill is your school districts, of which we have no say. As our county executive stated in his public address, quote, reducing the cost of living helps everyone. And that, quote, the middle class is still paying too much for its necessities. I would agree with both of those statements, and I would be in favor of reducing the sales tax for everyone, for every item sold in Putnam County, and ask the state to extend the sales tax rate for the original 0.75%, an amount equal to our surrounding counties of Dutchess and Orange counties. This lowers the sales tax burden and puts more money back in the pockets of our hardworking taxpayers. That's why I voted in the past to reduce taxes on gas prices when gas prices got really high with the previous administration, and why I voted to eliminate the tax on clothing items under $110, and why I now will support the 0.75%. I believe we can do better for our taxpayers by, number one, keeping property taxes low, which is what we have done, which we've vowed to do, which we'll continue to do. Number two, we can help lower the sales tax burden for struggling families here in Putnam County. And number three, to curb spending and make government more efficient. As government entities, outside agencies, and the state of New York try to reach into county coffers to fund their priorities, as a taxpayer myself, I know that this is not county money, but taxpayer money. Let them keep it in their pockets. Everything I purchase here in Putnam, everything I purchase is here in Putnam County. I pay for this tax every day at the gas pump, for my clothing, online purchases, on my utility bills, for my new vehicle, and on and on. Make no mistake, those who want to collect more tax dollars have their hands in the pocket of the taxpayer, and they're deciding how to spend your hard-earned paycheck. These politicians are not only planning on how to spend it, but fighting tooth and nail for it and telling you it's for your own benefit. They're fighting to spend your tax dollars over the next 3 years. Beware of politicians telling you that the sky is falling and all hell will break loose if we cut taxes. That should give every taxpayer pause. If we have the opportunity, let you keep even a little bit of your own money in your pocket. We're not taking any money out of the Putnam County coffers. We're letting you keep it in your pocket. I'm all for it. I will be supporting the 3.75% sales tax resolution. Any further discussion for those things? Legislator Montgomery.
I just would like to clarify something respectfully that Legislator Russo stated that we've never shared sales tax before. That's not true. We did this. We passed a resolution in 2022. Legislator Sage, Yonke, Adnesio, Goldman, and I all supported that wholeheartedly. This was also the same year, actually it was 2 years before, that you wholeheartedly said we desperately had to extend the 1% sales tax. So that 0.25% amounts to the $5 million that we gave to towns and villages that year. And that year the towns and villages used it for infrastructure projects that they desperately needed and didn't have in their town and village budgets. Water infrastructure, road infrastructure, culverts. So I think we're missing a really good opportunity here to bring us back together with the county executive and with our 5 towns and villages that are here, because it is looking like a political gamemanship we have an opportunity to reunite this county by doing this. County executive is certainly going to veto this. It's going to come back to us, and we're not gonna have the votes to pass it. So we've been going on here for weeks, months now talking about this. It will get vetoed, it'll come back to us. If it needs a unanimous vote to override that veto, it's not gonna get that. So it is true.
It's a super majority.
Super majority, so you don't have the votes to, I don't believe. So we're going round and round here. I think we are missing it. I think we're missing a really important opportunity to make amends, to come together, to unite legislature, administration, towns, and villages. And we're missing a really good opportunity here, and it's too bad.
Anyone else?
Just a quick just a quick point on the mechanics. This will be one of two votes we're probably going to have to take. This one not merely, but importantly, sends a message in formal form to our legislators representing Putnam in the state legislature to, whether it's 1% or 0.75, to increase our sales tax from 3% to some higher number. Once they do that, they're going to come up with a bill number, and then they'll come back to us again to approve the actual bill in final form. As far as vetoes are concerned, I'd like to just discuss for a moment the consequences of a veto. If this gets vetoed, or like any bill, you return to the status quo. And what that means is that the status quo is 3% after November 30th, 2025. So if this gets vetoed, we won't get the 0.75, we won't get the 1%, unless this legislature overrides that veto with 6 votes. Or, if there's time, because it is late, and we've had some very healthy discussions over the last few weeks and months about this, or if there's time to put up another bill where either 0.75 or 1% or half or whatever, we could keep going until Albany, pulls the curtain down and they're done for the year. So I just want to explain what a consequence of a veto would mean. It would mean that the status quo on November 30th, if we do nothing, would be we'd lose the whole percent. And some people seem to like that. That's fine. We all have different opinions, and that's great. But that would be the consequence of a veto of this. If whatever passes tonight, whether it's the 1%, whether it's the 0.75, if it gets vetoed and there's not 6 votes to override the veto, okay, I'm just letting everyone else know, it goes down to 3% on November 30th. I don't want to see that happen either. As much of a tax cutter as I claim to be, I don't want to see it go down to 3%. If you recall, I started out at 0.5%, and I've been compromising all the way to 0.75. I think it's a fair amount. I think it's an amount our taxpayers can live with. I think it's an amount that we can do all the tax cutting things we want to do. And again, I'm going to be Kevin's biggest advocate when he comes out with his biggest tax cut. I don't think there's, at least from my perspective, I don't think there's politics on this. I've worked with and sometimes fought against 4 county executives on this very issue. And it's never been about politics, either on their part or mine. And
if I may, now,
so if I can finish up,
If you could, that'd be great.
Well, that's okay. So that's why I'm going to be supporting the 0.75, because I think it's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Legislator Powell.
So you realize the 100% is returned to the state, and if it does get vetoed, the state actually has the ability to return to the 4% if the state gives them delegation and therefore so chooses to.
Could I respond to that? I don't.
I'm not sure if that's true or not.
I don't believe that's the case.
If it's vetoed, I think it goes right back to
They
the
can look into it.
Could you elaborate more on that? I'm curious.
I'm just.
If I may through the chair.
State delegation can do as they choose.
They can. But they need a home rule message, and that's what we're providing.
Right, so if we're not providing them with one by a veto, they can then do what they choose.
Okay. I'm sorry, Legislator
Montgomery. We've talked a lot about doing this, and we can do both. We can reduce this and we can share. But I just want to remind you weren't here, but this legislature voted down an opportunity that the county executive presented a package for an opportunity to grant money to the towns and villages through the budget process. So, you know, we were so in favor of keeping this 1%, now we're not. We're saying we're gonna share with the towns and villages, yet we voted those packages down in the past. And, you know, we had an opportunity to do a grant program with this current county executive. The previous county executive did share the growth that you're all in support of. Amounts to the $5 million that we're losing right now. That the towns and villages could make a lot of difference in your towns and villages. But we're sitting on that big fund balance and we're still not even willing to share with our towns and villages. And we haven't been for as long as I've been on the legislature.
Okay, anyone else who hasn't had a chance to speak twice? Because I'm going to call for a vote now because we have a lot of people. I'm sure they all want to speak tonight, so I want to make sure that I'm going to call for a roll call vote for a motion to amend to the 4% that was made by Legislator Crowley. It was seconded by Legislator Montgomery, and now we are voting on the motion to amend to the 4%. Roll call vote, please. Oh, I thought Legislator Crowley. Okay, the clerk has that. Okay, go ahead.
Legislator Edmondson. No. Legislator Birmingham.
No.
Legislator Crowley.
Yes.
Legislator Eldon.
No.
Oh, come on, man. Legislator Gould.
Yes.
Legislator Young.
No.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage.
No.
Motion carries.
Yes. Okay, now we're going back to the original. Original 3.75% for a period from December 1st, 2025 to November 30th, 2028. Is there, do we have discussion, further discussion? I think we should vote. I think we'll call for a vote. Roll call vote, please, on 3.75.
Yes. Legislator Birmingham.
Yes.
Legislator Crowley.
No.
Legislator Eldon.
Yes.
Legislator Goldman.
No.
Legislator Young.
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
Can you say the question again?
It's on the 3.75.
Oh, no.
Chairwoman Sage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Legislator Chairwoman, I make a motion to reconsider the resolution that we just passed. That means I make a motion to reconsider the resolution and rescind it. I voted yes on it. Robert's rules say if you vote yes on the resolution, you can make a motion to reconsider the resolution. I make a
So roll call vote to
motion to
reconsider the
rescind
resolution.
the stupid
Roll call vote to reconsider the resolution.
You guys should really consider this. All these people want you to do this.
So we're voting on the motion to reconsider.
Legislator Edmondson.
No.
No, did you?
Oh, yeah, we should have discussion. You're right, I'm sorry.
Just a question, if we rescind this, we end up at zero, don't we? We have no positive resolution.
We can introduce one, there's still time. Then we introduce another one, which is my next motion.
Anyone have any further discussion on
Yeah,
this?
since the resolution was passed with veto-proof majority, 6 to 3, I'm going to be voting in the negative to reconsider.
Any further discussion on the motion to rescind? Roll call vote, please, on the motion to rescind this resolution.
Legislator Edmondson.
No.
Legislator Birmingham.
No.
Legislator Crowley.
Yes.
Legislator Eldon.
No.
Legislator Goldman.
Yes.
Legislator Young.
No.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage.
No. Moving on to.
I make a motion to change my vote.
We've already done.
Finish voting, we're gonna move on to.
Make a motion to
other
reconsider my
business.
vote. I make a motion to reconsider my vote.
I guess we don't matter.
Agenda item.
I make my motion to reconsider my vote.
Robert's on second.
I have the floor.
I can make a motion to reconsider my vote
There's a second.
if I originally voted on the prevailing side.
Point of order to the Legislative Council. If someone has
He
not
hasn't
been
been
granted
recognized by
the
the
floor,
chair.
someone has not been,
Well, the chair isn't recognized by the chair either, so I will move to agenda item number 6, which is other business.
I make a motion to reconsider my vote. I make a motion that the clerk records my vote to the original resolution as no.
So I'll ask for clarification.
Yeah.
Well,
If I could, through the chair, with your permission, for me to pose a question to Deputy County Attorney. We finished the vote, item 6S. A veto-proof majority was provided in the affirmative on that. Then a second motion, not even subsidiary to that, but separate from that motion, was made to reconsider, which was graciously entertained by our chair. It happened. That was voted down. So now that we are 2 resolutions outside of that 6S item, I've never heard of a motion to change my vote that late in the game. Could you give us some help on that?
Well, not something that comes up to chair. At this point, I think it's strictly procedural, as the chair will use to recognize the next motion, especially when it's already been voted on. It's duplicative. That would be at your discretion.
So I'm gonna move on to other business.
I'd like to change my vote, Chair. I'm asking you. I've seen it done here, actually. Oh, I'd like to change my vote.
We've been here all night going back and forth.
So,
on this, and I'm
listen,
gonna
you
move this
really
meeting
quick.
along because we still have a lot of people who want to speak.
No, you don't have to vote on it. I'm asking you to change my vote on that resolution.
I'll ask the clerk to change legislative Montgomery's
Thank you.
vote on that. Thank you. Okay. So other business this evening, agenda item 6A. So we have other business before us here tonight. The first item on for other business is item 6A. This is for an approval for resolution of the Putnam County Legislature urging the state of New York to recognize emergency medical services as an essential service and to enact legislation to ensure the sustainability of EMS providers through funding, reimbursement, reform, and other support measures. This was proposed by Legislator Montgomery. Is there a motion to add item 6A to the agenda for other business?
Make a motion to add item 6A for other business.
Is there a second?
I will second this.
Roll call vote, please. This is to add to the agenda.
Legislator Adamizio.
Yes.
Legislator Berman.
Yes.
Legislator Crowell.
Yes.
Legislator Elmer.
yes.
Legislator Goldman.
Yes.
Legislator Yonke.
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'll ask for a motion to approve. Agenda item, okay. We'll discuss first. Now we'll move for approval. I'll open the floor for discussion on agenda item 6A.
Thank you.
Legislator Montgomery, please.
Thank you for putting this on the agenda and the unanimous vote to get it on the agenda. As you know from all the emails I've been sending you and memos, it's important for us to act on this now while the state is still negotiating their budget. There are 8 bills in the state package to make EMS essential. I don't know if New Yorkers know, but emergency medical service is not essential in New York State. And what this package of bills does is it makes EMS essential. Just to summarize, it provides income tax credit to volunteer firefighters and ambulance corps. It allows for reimbursement for transportation costs for emergency care without prior authorization. It authorizes programs for community paramedicine services, and it removes EMS services from the real property tax cap, something that our towns and villages suffer from year after year when they're trying to stay within the 2% tax cap. Often our fire departments and our ambulance corps meet because of the expense of the equipment and the training and everything that's involved. They go beyond the tax cap, which makes it a huge burden for a town or village to stay within their tax cap. And it also repeals the provision that volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers who now receive a real property tax exemption for service, they may not also receive the income tax credit, and this allows them to receive both. This is a package that's been fully vetted by the New York State Association of Counties. The State Senate One House bill passed this in their One House bill, so it's part of that. And I'm hoping that you guys will pass it tonight so that we can get it to the state. Just to say, it's just a resolution, it's a sentiment that says to the state, we support these bills, we believe in making EMS essential for the hardworking first responders in our county and everywhere throughout the state.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Legislator Guardianship.
Yes, I'd like to echo a lot of what, essentially all of what Legislator Montgomery just said. These packages of bills have appeared before the state legislature before in some form or simply some of them have in some form or another. Each one of them has received bipartisan support. Unfortunately, I think some of the timing issue up in Albany with the budget and everything, that's why some of these didn't get passed last year. When I understand they're going to, if not already, they're going to be reintroducing these very important bills that will give recognition to our first responders and emergency service people. I think all of us in this room, one of our families at one time or another had needed their services, and anything we can do to help them help us is well worth it. So I'll be supporting this bill, and I thank Legislator Montgomery for bringing it to our attention. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Legislator Putnam.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I think down in 911 and no one comes. The EMS service is one of the most essential services we have in our community throughout Putnam County and throughout the country. They are a critical component of public health and safety in New York and in the country. That they are not officially recognized at this time. I'll be supporting this to hopefully get it officially recognized in New York State.
Thank you. Anyone else? I would also like to mention that we do have additional. Someone would like to make a motion to accept the additional on this agenda item. Second. Second. Who moved that one? Legislator Goldman, second by Legislator Montgomery. All in favor of adding the additional?
This was a memo today from Legislator Montgomery, which we all received, and that's why we're asking to be putting on. I believe it is that what you're referring to? Or is it from?
Yeah, there's the additional.
Yeah, I think it was your memo for your.
It was, and I can't find it.
That's okay.
Here, she has mine. Thanks. I don't think I need to read the whole thing, but it's just, again, one of my many memos throughout the month. I first introduced a version of this March 10th. There was some discussion about it being too involved and not having time to get it on the committee and all of that. But again, I'm urging you, because of the nature of the state budget, with New York State missing its April 1st budget deadline due to ongoing negotiations, there's still a crucial window of opportunity to advocate for EMS to be recognized as an essential service. Now more than ever, we need strong voices urging lawmakers to ensure this measure is included in the final budget. I please urge you to support making EMS essential.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Is there a motion to approve?
We've had a motion and a second to accept. I don't think we should vote.
No, this is the motion to approve.
Well, we still have to vote on the motion to accept.
We did accept.
You just had a motion.
We didn't vote on it.
Oh, we didn't vote on the agenda?
Nope.
Yeah, we did. We voted to add it to the agenda because that's why we're having a discussion.
My mistake, I'm sorry.
Now we're voting on an approval.
No, we
We voted on the additional. Yes, we did. We just did.
Why don't we do it again? Motion.
Oh, I want to say all in favor. Okay, repeat the tape. All in favor of adding? Aye. Okay. So now I will call on, is there a motion for approval for this resolution?
Well, I believe we voted on that. We did approve the motion.
We got a second, and we just need to vote.
Okay, if I could recap, and I'll defer to the clerk. It's my
We
understanding.
voted to add it to the agenda. We seconded that. We voted on adding it to the agenda. We voted on the additional. We seconded that. We voted on that. Now,
We're voting on the motion.
making a motion, looking for someone to make a motion to approve the actual resolution itself. So I will ask for that motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Let's say Montgomery is making a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Best of my abilities. I hope. Okay, so we're gonna try that all over again. So now, we also have other business this evening. This is, agenda item 6B. 6B is an agenda item for approval for a resolution establishing a sales tax revenue sharing mechanism between Putnam County and the towns and villages within Putnam County. This is also proposed by Legislator Montgomery. I will ask for a motion to add this to the agenda.
Madam Chair, before that motion is moved, like I did in the committee meetings, I do have a conflict on this. My firm, of which I'm a partner, represents the town of Kent and the villages of Brewster and Cold Spring. So I feel the need to recuse myself from any participation on this, whether to add it to the agenda or even discuss it. So what I'd like to do is put that on the record in full disclosure. And what I'm going to do next is excuse myself from the room while discussion happens. And I'd ask the clerk or somebody to come get me after this agenda item is done.
Thank you, Legislator Birmingham.
Thank you for your understanding.
Legislator Birmingham, recuse himself, and then we will. So I will ask again for a motion to add this agenda item 6B to the agenda for other business. Is there a motion to add Legislator Montgomery? Is there a second to add this to the agenda?
Second.
Roll call vote to add this item to the agenda.
Legislator Evans. We're in for discussion. We're in for discussion. Is that what it is?
No, just to add it.
It's not on for approval, on for discussion.
No, on for.
It says approval. So we're not.
Okay,
We're ready to discuss.
It's already on the agenda.
No, this is other business, so we're going to add it to the agenda. So we need a motion to add it. Okay, a second to add it.
This is a motion to add this to the agenda.
Correct.
Do you agree to add this to the agenda? Roll call vote.
Roll call vote to add this to the agenda.
I'm voting no this evening on principle. This matter should be brought to committee for discussion. There are too many factors to
No
consider.
discussion. There's no
I'm giving a
discussion.
reason.
There's no discussion on adding it to the agenda.
Yeah, I'm giving a reason why I'm voting now.
But when I make a reason for not adding it to an agenda, I can't speak.
I think you can.
I think you can.
No, it's just a vote, it's just a vote, roll call vote.
There's no discussion.
Go on, okay. Continue with the roll call.
Legislator Crown.
I'll vote yes to add it to, for discussion.
Legislator Elman.
No.
Legislator Goldman.
Yes.
Legislator Young.
No.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage.
No.
Ward 4.
Moving on to agenda item number 7 is recognition of the public. Number 7 is a recognition of the public on agenda items.
I make a motion, I have other business. You didn't close other business, you didn't call for other business.
We did call for other business, and we're moving on to recognition
You
of
didn't
public
call
on
for other
agenda
business
items.
after the last agenda.
I've already moved this item number
You
7.
didn't call for other business. I have other business. You didn't call for it. You didn't call for an end to other business.
I moved for agenda item number 7, and I'm going to recognize the public.
I didn't hear you. I called for other business.
So when you're making your statement, please come to the podium and sign in. Please state your name and the town in which you reside.
I'm making a motion for other business on behalf of the farmers to rescind the
agenda item.
Chairwoman, this is a democracy. You did not allow for other business.
We also follow Robert's rules.
You did not allow for other business.
I have never had
Speak louder and you're going to move on because I did not hear you.
I'm going to move on to recognition of public on agenda items.
I make a motion to
direct your
rescind
comments.
the application period for...
Let the public
No,
hear your
this is just so unfair.
Come on,
These people are
everyone up! Please.
For other business.
Direct
because you
your
wouldn't
comments.
hear them over and over and over again. They are here for other business.
We matter. Of course you do.
Corruption.
Stop acting like you care. I make a motion for other business.
Legislature.
Other business. Katie, what are you scared of? The truth. The
I would ask for order, please, and we're going to continue on with the remainder of this meeting.
And other business.
Other business. Do you not hear the people?
We matter. Vote on it.
Other business.
You knew we were here all along.
Okay, so it has to be.
Maybe we go on social media.
Take the money out your ears.
I think going live on social media is a great idea.
Let the people speak. Let the farmers farm. Build jobs. Build community. America first, right?
I'm sorry.
All right, so we're going to move on to
We're on
recognition.
public comment now?
You are public, yes, you
We're
are.
on public comment on agenda.
Are you a taxpayer, Nancy Montgomery?
I am in fact.
Can you come up here and speak to us?
This is.
Jackie, what
My name is Nancy Montgomery. I live in Phillipstown, New York, and I've lived there my whole life, and I reaped the benefits of local farms my whole life. I would like this legislature to rescind the application period for the Ag District applications which started today, which you have the power to do. You have the local control to do this. You can rescind the application period today and you can pass a resolution to push off the application period from a month from now or 2 months from now so that you have an opportunity to get your act together, which you've had a year to do, to fix this problem. If I were on a committee, which you all were, many of you were on the Physical Services Committee that created this disaster, we would have had it fixed by now if I were on that committee, but I'm not. So this is my only opportunities to get things on the agenda are in other business, which is why you saw 2 resolutions today, because you stonewalled me in committee with those. So you're stonewalling me tonight with my only opportunity to bring something up in other business. And I would like you to consider reopening it and consider rescinding the application period which started today and consider a resolution to allow farmers and you more time to figure this out.
Through the chair, I know we're not supposed to have any back and forth conversation, but I'm going to ask you if you can explain to the public.
Well, I would defer to council because council.
Let's do that.
If you can, please clarify.
Person speaks.
Clarify what happened last week.
Clarify what happened, please.
The
application process.
Legislator Montgomery's comments about changing the inclusion period for ag district.
Through the chair, we're going to be discussing that in the executive session.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I could, we're on public comment now.
Yeah, we're going to stick up.
And legislators have come, and we will have the opportunity to speak after the public comment. But I suggest we do is move on to public comment, and what we do in public comment is we come up to the podium, and Steve is right here, he'll tell us his name, and what town he's from, and then he'll tell us also what agenda item he's speaking on. I think I know which one you're going to speak on, but if you could just give us that information verbally, and then we'll move on.
Certainly. My name is Steve Florafilla. I'm concerned.
What was the agenda item?
I think you're on, are you on item 5E? 5E.
5E.
Yes.
Thank you.
E, right.
We discussed earlier that the problem of high taxes, that the county was losing money, people were overburdened with excessively high taxes, and yet, in a way that I deem to be very hypocritical, you're giving our tax money away to private groups that you claim you like their yards, you like them. People have a right to spend money the way they want to spend their tax money, not to have it frivolously given away. And no disrespect, by the way. Yeah. But I think it is very hypocritical, especially in times like this with excessive inflation, where young families are having difficulty affording to pay for their children, where elderly people on limited fixed incomes are having trouble remaining in Putnam County. People are moving to Florida, people are moving to South Carolina and other states to get away from this excessive taxation, which you all acknowledged a little while ago. But you're giving away our tax money frivolously, particularly to a group that re-granted money to organizations that are diametrically opposed to.
If I could just ask, if they can sign in when they come up to the podium so they don't interrupt other people speaking. Thank you.
Giving money to groups, the Arts Council, re-granting money to groups that are diametrically opposed to the values of the vast majority of people in this county. I have spoken to a number of different organizations involving hundreds of people. They were appalled when they found out who the re-grant money was given to groups that were demonstrating in front of this courthouse, stating America is a terrorist state. I was not there, but I've been told this by a number of reliable sources, dressed in clothing that was similar to the terrorist group, I believe it's called Hamas, supporting them, indirectly giving money to these groups. I've been told this by a number of reliable sources, groups that were spitting at police officers that were there to maintain order. I don't want my tax money, and the vast majority of residents of Putnam County do not want their tax money frivolously given to such groups that will re-grant it. And I know you voted to set aside the money, which I'm disappointed, particularly in a couple of legislators who told me they were going to vote against it and they voted for it. And I don't appreciate why you do it like that. But I would like you to ensure that you look at who the Arts Council is going to re-grant monies to and make certain that they do not give it to groups that have a history of disrespecting and attacking police and have a history of supporting organizations that are diametrically opposed to the values of people in this county. And many people will be watching the way that you folks vote. This is not going to go away. It's going to continue, just like a certain town supervisor was kneeling in favor of a group that was advocating killing police hates the country, and this fool, maybe I shouldn't use that language, but is kneeling in favor of this group. And we went around to many different organizations in this county exposing his passive support, and he lost his previous two elections by a 2/3 majority. And we will not hesitate to do the same for any of you legislators that vote in favor of frivolously giving our tax money to organizations that are diametrically opposed to the values of this county.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make a recommendation, given the late hour already, and the fact that we have to be out of here by a certain time, we to the time of it.
I'm not going to keep a time limit, but I will ask you to keep your comments brief so that everyone has the opportunity to speak. I don't want to sit through the time clock and measure everybody, but I do want to make sure that everybody keeps their comments brief. We have a lot of people, and we do have to be out of here at a certain time, so please keep that in mind and be respectful to one another. That's why we're all here. Please state your name,
yes,
the town that you reside, the agenda item.
And the agenda item, I think you know, is Putnam Arts Council. And I was here last.
And item 5B.
I'm sorry, thank you. I'm going to keep it brief too. I'm going to read. During the March 17th legislature meeting, I was falsely accused of the vile and disgusting act of spitting on a cop during a ceasefire rally in June 22nd, 2024. During the meeting, I said there was bad behavior displayed on both sides, but bad behavior to me is a raised voice and shouting, not the act of spitting, which I was falsely accused. That live meeting streamed, and there were close to 500 people online, including a packed room of artists and event planners and legislators. I can't begin to explain the emotional distress and the accusations have caused me and have my character and reputation in not only this community, but everywhere. I have never in my life spit on anyone. If I had spit on a cop, I'm confident there would be consequences, such as a warning, detained, or even being arrested. One of my accusers, Steve, said that he had not attended the rally, but believed what he was told. He said he was told to be in attendance only 2 hours before the March 17th meeting. That suggests conspiracy. That my values are diametrically opposed to the values of Putnam County. Really? Maybe because he didn't exercise his First Amendment rights to stand up for middle school Black and Latino children who were threatened with lynching and being shot to death. That was seen on 7 TikTok videos created by Carmel High School students in 2023. Nooses were being hung in those schools for many, many years, or exercising that same right to call for an end to apartheid rule and a ceasefire in Gaza. A rally I merely attended and did not organize in any way. Instead, he attempts to weaponize the pleas for a ceasefire to anti-Semitism. In typical bully fashion, he threatened the legislators with ramping up a campaign to have them voted out of office. Did he tonight? Perhaps that's why the legislators allowed a person without first-hand knowledge, hearsay, to speak a second time during that evening. My 3 accusers spread lies about me with malice. Two apparently have an ulterior motive. One lost the school board election to my friend who has for years been involved with the Black Heritage events of Putnam County. And the other accuser is his ex-wife.
All right, thank you. Thank you. That's enough, thank you. Property taxes, please.
Well, my time might be up, but people came up here with the belief that I had done these things. Artists after artists said that.
Ladies and gentlemen, let everyone have their chance to say.
Yeah, I don't think it's. Can I get?
I have, well, one more thing. One more thing. I have foil for the body camera from the police officer. I got it, I saw it, and there's no spitting.
Okay, let's move on.
You're protecting child abuse.
I never accused
Please,
Just stick on.
again, agenda items only, and please state your name and town you're in, agenda items you're speaking to. This is not a back and forth again. Your opportunity to speak to someone.
Okay.
Your agenda item?
Yes, I'm going to talk about the sales tax issue. Also, I don't know.
State your name.
Can everyone hear me okay? My name is Greg Harris. I live in Carmel Hamlet. I'm talking about the sales tax issue. What is frustrating is I was here 8 days ago, and we all seem to agree, I thought, once myself and a few of the farmers pointed out the bad math behind the sales tax cut. And for people just to understand, okay, we keep hearing $5.3 million in savings. That's divided out by the taxpayers in this county, but also divided out upon the people who don't even live here. They get the benefit of that too. So what is that savings to the taxpayers? It's roughly about $35 to $40 a year. A year. You're going to all spend your tax savings on the way home tonight if you pick up a pie of pizza. Okay? Whereas, I live in Carmel Hamlet. I live in Carmel's Water District 2. There was a proposal for a water treatment plant that was going to add $944 to my property tax. I'm going around the half circle here. That's why my body's moving. Yeah. No, I hear you, but I'm looking at it. So when we're talking about the $944 that was going to be added to my property taxes, the ability to share tax revenue with the towns and villages, which was also on the agenda, so I am allowed to speak about it, would have significantly lowered that tax commitment and tax bill, okay? Way more than $35 to $40 for the year. It would have saved hundreds of dollars. Now, I don't know where everybody went to school, but where I'm from, hundreds of dollars is a lot bigger of a savings than the $30 to $40 that we're being told is graciously being put back in our pockets. And just to be clear, I'm looking at Legislature Montgomery, not that way. So I wanted to make that clear. The other thing I would just very quickly say is, especially with the farming issue, okay, we've had a real issue here where the people have come out on these two very crucial issues. They let you know, I said these two crucial issues. I'm speaking about the sales tax issue. The people have come out on these two crucial issues to let you know how they feel. They've come out in a very robust way. They've come out in a very effortful way multiple times. What we witnessed here tonight and over the past few weeks is more than just community engagement. Okay, what we're talking about here is a wake-up call. People have shown up because they felt unheard, and while it's moving to see this room full, sorry, I didn't mean to look at them, it's also a sign that something has gone deeply wrong. We elect our leaders not because we are smarter than the people we serve, but because they trust us to listen to them. We are chosen to carry the voices of this community, this county, not to silence them, not to override them, but to reflect them in every policy, in every vote, in every decision that we make. And that trust is so when people feel that they must pack a room just to get our attention, it is not the people who have failed the system, it is the system that is failing the people. It's not about party or personality. There are 9 seats here. 8 of you are in the same party. You can't agree on anything. Because what it's not about is party or personality, it's about principle. We owe our community leadership that puts policy and people over politics and party. Because when that happens, communities don't just push back like you see here tonight, they move forward. We elect legislators to carry the voice of the people and to be our advocates, our protectors, and our representatives. So we don't have to fill a room just to be heard. That's the sacred trust of public service. When that trust is shaken, when policy starts serving power instead of people, communities rise up. And what you've seen here isn't politics, it is people demanding better. It's a community standing together and saying enough. We deserve leadership that puts policy and people over politics and party. That is not a campaign slogan. That is a standard. And it's a standard I hope you all begin to adopt someday. Thank you.
So I can see how many people we have. Okay, I think we do have to ask for a time limit or we're going to be here till tomorrow morning. So I'm going to instill 2 minutes because we have so many people here and I want to make sure we hear from everybody here.
Yes.
No, not at all. I want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to speak. So go ahead and state your name.
My name is Jocelyn Papicello, town of Phillipstown, Putnam farmer. I'm addressing agenda item 5J 1 and 2, soil and water. Soil's gotten quite a name. The legislature has actually made soil an issue in this county by denying inclusion to the parcels into the agricultural district due to soil.
It's not on the agenda. We're not talking about any inclusion for any.
RC funding is on the agenda.
We're talking, no, it's not. We have soil and water conservation. We don't have any inclusion for the ag.
5J 1 and 2 is Part C funding, and in fact, Part 1 was $8,000 removed for discussion that I recommend the legislature and the Committee of Fiscal Services look at appropriate uses for Part C funding, which are for soil restoration and management. Because this legislator made soil type something of an issue in this county. Soil is getting a bad name as if it's the problem. And that gentleman already told us what the problem was. So the soil is a good thing. Livestock farmers need it. Produce farmers need it. We all need it. I highly recommend and that the Part C funding be used for appropriate uses that goes to farmers to do things like soil management and livestock raising and all of the other list of Part C funds that are listed on the New York State website. Thank you.
Thank
you. That's just for our clerk because.
Don't worry, I want to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Good evening, I'm Stacy Dumont, Patterson, New York, and I just wanted to thank the legislature for considering essential the arts and culture in Putnam County. And I thank you for passing this for all of us in the arts community and recognizing the thousands and thousands of people who attend arts and dance and music and theater in our county, and the hundreds and hundreds of hours that people enjoy entertainment for the mere cost of $13,000. So thank you for hearing us, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. My name once I'm not speaking, I don't want to hold on. So I'm going to speak on issues 5T and then 5S as well.
State your name.
5E, Q, and R. My name is Adriana Wise and I live in Carmel, New York. So regarding 5E, right, the Putnam Arts Council. So from my perspective, even witnessing the profound partisanship that we witnessed here tonight, this is clearly a political issue and it's a very divisive issue. So what my concern is, indeed, having approved these funds, is that the Putnam Arts Council be accountable to the legislature with the choice of their projects and events. And maybe there could be a metric put in place so that via membership, via attendance, we make sure that people from all political parties are represented, because I do not see any other way. So there has to be a metric of success of their projects, attendance by the wide majority of our constituents, that is not an insular group that is disguising their arts activity as political activity, and a metric again for making sure everybody is represented and their values. So that's on that point. On the tax point, I would want to, yes, so it's 5S. So I've heard here the argument made that by increasing local taxes, we can then scale down property taxes. That has not been my experience. So I've heard somehow that property taxes have been lowered in Putnam for the past 2 years. I personally have experienced the steepest increases in property taxes exactly over the past 2 years. To an extent of the same order of magnitude, if you want, of my mortgage payments, pretty much, or a lower magnitude lower. Now, not addressing any of the points on the agenda, I'm absolutely appalled at the reaction of the public and the way that orderliness is not being enforced. It makes me afraid to even be here. I don't want to answer to any personal accusation that was being made. It's not worth doing it. But I really feel that we should calm down the atmosphere, and some law enforcement should be present and make sure that people of all political convictions feel comfortable being here.
Thank you. Thank you. State your name.
Good evening, my name is Tina Franzetti. I am from APAC, and as I will talk about, one way, 5E, thank you. So just so everyone knows here, I haven't been bookkeeper for Putnam Arts Council. I've been there for over 5 years. Okay, and just so we know, we're going to deal with facts. There are mechanisms. We work for the legislature. What we do is we have groups that come, we have anyone can join. Everybody's very interested. We don't come to our place. But no one who has asked about it has walked in our building. No one has ever asked, how does it work? Well, how it works is we get people to come in, and then we bring the information to the legislature, who happens to approve it, which that was approved. This happened afterwards. At any time, they can audit somebody. They can do any of those things. We do not do it. We work at the pleasure of the legislature. So if people have an issue with not wanting to give money to the arts, that's your right, you can do. Do not, how I feel that we did anything that was wrong, we did our job. The legislature talked to us about certain things they wanted to change, and of course we're going to do it because we work for them. So if you don't feel included, come on down, see what we have. We have absolutely places that if you are interested in something, have them contact us. We can maybe have a class or something. We're not excluding anyone, but if you don't show an interest, how do we know what you're interested in? Thank you very much.
Thank you. State your name, your town, and the agenda item you wish to speak on.
Will do. Joey Mancuso, Putnam Valley, owner of Big Red Barn Farm, also in Putnam Valley. I'm not sure if it's allowed, and as a politician, I don't play these games, but I'd like to open the agenda on topic item 6, other business. Is that not included?
That was not.
No. So I had a question then. Where do we able to express our viewpoints, our opinions? Because every time you do, we get shut down, while other people were able to suggest items not on the list, and you entertained them.
If you have questions on specific or any topics, you can send an email to putnamcountyny.gov, or you can call our legislative office at 845-808-1020.
And then those are not returned?
They should be returned.
They are not.
Or they lie when they return them.
Continue with your
We are your
comments.
constituents. We need your help and support. We don't need the animosity. We don't need the politics. I'm embarrassed about this. We've elected you as our officials, and this is the response that we get. This is embarrassing. I'm a physician. If I ever acted this way, I would have to give up. Okay? This is, I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong.
No.
But
No.
this is. You're right. Sorry, addressing only you. But if I was up there representing you, and you saw this, I hope you feel the same way. It's embarrassing. Since I'm not allowed to speak about other things, I'll end it there.
Oh, are you signing in? Is everyone signing in? I'm sorry. Ma'am, the last person who's still, could you sign in?
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you?
Yeah, please sign in. We'll wait for you.
It's a doctor.
We'll wait for you. I want to make sure you have them.
Just bring the clip
behind
behind one person. Said I write my email, but we know what that's saying.
You know what we might want to do, and this wasn't taking against your time, maybe if you want to hand a clipboard to the person behind you.
That's a good idea.
And that way, you don't have to say time. That was your.
Okay, so again, page 13 is the town of the item you wish to speak on. Thank you.
So hi, my name is Caitlin McKenna. I actually reside in Manpack, New York, but I do travel to other parts of Putnam County as an equestrian. I know I feel like I never get the ability to speak, especially when I want to be able to say my piece and say how I feel about something, and I feel like I have the right to ask and mention it, especially as she said, emails do go unheard and do go unanswered. And if that is okay, I would like to ask a couple of questions.
So this is public comment. It's not a back and forth.
Or
It's your ability to discuss agenda items and to comment on agenda items only. We do have the rules of the legislature that we follow. Otherwise, it would be nasty, and we really need to follow our rules. So I appreciate it.
I would like to comment then
stay within our rules.
I would like to comment then on what Legislator Montgomery said that you all shut down.
It's not on the agenda.
Well,
We follow Robert's rules of order, so it's not on the agenda.
Then it's illegal because she was putting it on the agenda and you all shut her down without the ability to let her.
Was not voted on.
You were shutting down the farms. And this is me. I'm a professional equestrian and I compete. I take care of horses. All these people here, I know they all take care of animals and do all these farm things, and it's unfair that everyone is shutting this down. It makes us emotional. It makes us very upset. It messes with everyone's lives. And we should have the ability to speak without being shut down. I'm sorry.
Please sign in. Okay, thank you.
Christian Russo, Town of Putnam Valley. I spoke about this at the last meeting. I'm talking about agenda item 5S regarding the sales tax. I gave my reasons at the previous meeting. We're in a very uncertain time right now regarding federal funding, and I think lowering the sales tax down by that 0.25% could be devastational right now. You're talking about $5.3 billion in revenue. That, I know it's a different topic, but that $5.3 billion could be shared with the towns. We're in desperate need of money for critical infrastructure, emergency services. Those dollars can be used. And that 0.25% is going to save somebody 25 cents on a $100 purchase. So I really, I'm disappointed that we lowered that tonight. Even the Commissioner of Finance was advising against doing that for you guys at this time. There's a lot of things that came up. There was some contracts that you guys don't have answers about yet. Costs of health insurance. I really feel strongly you guys really shouldn't be lowering the sales tax right now. Thank you.
Thank you. State your name and your town, which you reside.
Good evening.
And your agenda item.
My name is Andrew Wilkin from Putnam Valley. I'm not sure what the agenda item was, but in the beginning, you all spoke about alcoholism, mental illness, and you're giving certificates out and everything. Now here's the thing. When kids are on farms, they don't have issues like that because they have something to do. Trust me, you don't want to be hung over picking up manure. People with autism. Have you guys ever heard of therapeutic riding?
Your decision. Your decisions are shutting down the farms, giving therapeutic writing to kids, keeping kids off drugs. Now, in the farming community, suicide is so high because of you people not allowing us to talk. That's it. Like, who doesn't want people to be happy and healthy besides the Putnam or the majority of the Putnam County Legislature?
And I'll reiterate and ask you to state your name, the town in which you reside, and your agenda item. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Maddie Sandstone. I reside in Putnam Valley. I am an affiliate of Big Red Barn Farm, and I think you can guess why I am standing here currently. I would apologize for my attire, but I came from a farm, and I will be returning to a farm tonight, as well as 5 a.m. this morning. I am thoroughly embarrassed of the absolute circus act that I have witnessed tonight. The last time I was up here, I talked to people from my heart, from a place of compassion and from kindness, and I tried to be gentle and respectful. You are messing not only with our careers and our passions, you are messing with our livelihoods. This is ridiculous. Why? Why on God's green earth do you want to limit farms? Why on God's green
Can
earth?
we please limit it to agenda items only? And in fairness to the legislature, we haven't said anything about farms tonight.
You
There's
have
no
shut
one.
down everything, and you let everyone else speak.
But you're speaking about something that's not on the agenda item. In fairness to
Because
us,
of
the
you.
legislature, nobody is being denied the ability to farm in Putnam County. There's
You
no
are
denial. There's no one
You are denying future farmers.
So we're denying on the agenda.
You can't shut something down that won't be allowed to open.
You denied other business.
If you never put it on the agenda, it'll never get there. All right. I'm just gonna ask one question. One question, and then I'm going to make one statement, and I will be done. And if the people behind me decide to participate, that's of their own volition. Who here has woken up at 5 a.m., gone down the stairs or into the farm to check on a sick horse, to muck stalls for 12 hours, feed grain, check on waters, pull out hay, and do menial farm work as what they do for a living?
Your time is up.
No time limit. There was no time limit.
We do have a time limit because we have a lot of people to speak.
That's how you said.
What is the time?
Yeah, what is it?
It's 2 minutes. I stated at the beginning.
Hi, my name is Maggie Nagi. I'm from the town of Putnam Valley, and I do have a discussion about 5G, which is soil and water. Your director of soil and water handles our ag districts, from what I understand. So my question
Speaking
is,
specifically about soil
I'm
and water
talking about soil and
conservation
water.
district.
So the soil and water is in charge of the ag
We're
district.
not talking split positions, we're talking soil and water conservation district.
Okay, but
And we're not
Part C
calling out any
funds-
employees here.
Okay, the Part C funds is to fund the salary for that individual who runs the ag
It's
district.
to offset the particular,
So the
personnel line, it's a personnel line. We're not talking about individuals, we're not gonna call it.
Okay, I'm not talking about individuals, I'm not calling out that individual. So my question to the legislator is, the Part C funds the salary for who's holding soil and water's position that runs our ag district. So my question in regards to the ag district, because they combine, because one has to do with the other. So my question is, when is this legislator going to look at Resolution 139 from 2007 to allow our ag community back into the ag district so they can put their applications in, which were due today? Come start
Not
April
due
1st.
today, we have the entire month of April.
But you don't even have a committee set up yet. Your committee's not in place.
We're not
So my
talking about
question is-
inclusion, we're not talking about ag, and I would
So
refer
when can
to
we talk
council
about
to
this?
discuss.
In other business, when can the public come in front of the legislator and ask, when is our community going to be able to have our applicants
Rescind again.
We're still not talking about ag inclusion, so.
So that's gonna happen next month? If it happens next month, it'll be over then.
It will be a publicly noted meeting, just like the publicly noted inclusion period is April 1st through the end of April.
You know who I am.
Please take your name for the record. Thank you.
Dr. Zakonovich, and we're not going to go away, but I also wanted to comment on things that are dear to your heart, like autism and alcoholism. Farms mean more than just farming, and we provide things every week, every month at my personal farm for people with autism and all sorts of other disabilities and all sorts of ways of life. And by you guys continuing to just give us no voice, we're not going to go away. We're going to continue to have a voice here. And we're going to continue to come and show up to these meetings until we have the ability to actually communicate on agenda items that should have been brought up today and not be shut down. I just am lost for words, and your faces all look at our disgust and upsetness with us and showing up here and talking about things that aren't on the agenda, but we're going to continue to do that until you actually put things on the agenda that matter to the public.
Anyone else who hasn't spoken?
I'd like to speak.
Thank you. Again, state your name and the town which you reside and the agenda item you wish to speak on.
Crystal Skull, Putnam Valley. One of the first things you did was, it will be about the proclamations about alcoholism. One of the statements was that alcohol is one of if not the top, a substance that affects our children, and a secret substance that hasn't even been studied enough would be sugar. We can debate that, I don't really want to, but local farms help us to combat processed foods and things that are actually poisoning us. And those local foods are extremely important, and if you shut down our local farms, we won't have that, we won't have food security, and we won't have all the other great amenities that go along with local farms. And while I'm up here, I would like to state that New York State Ag and Markets did make a statement that the inclusion period can be changed, that it is in the power of this local legislature, and it can be changed at any time, even if the inclusion period has already started. Thank you.
Just for the benefit of the public, wearing my dual hat as senior deputy county attorney, we did receive correspondence from the state that said once the inclusion period application deadline starts, we're not going to move this year.
I received it from correspondence, so I text and request that you look into that again.
Okay, let's, if you'd like to speak, you can speak one time and come up to the podium and sign in, please.
Hi, I'm Joyce McCollum. I'm the director of the Putnam Arts Council. I'm also a resident. I live in the town of Carmel. And I wanted to speak not only about Putnam Arts Council's funding, which I think we really spoke a lot about at the enactments meeting, but also in regard to what the farmers are saying about autism and suicide and depression and all of those things. The arts are the vehicle for self-expression for people of all ages, for people of all abilities. And the money that you are providing to us is about 15 cents or less per resident in their tax dollars. The $14,993, $13,990. And it goes a long way. Hundreds of people participate, hundreds of people attend, and it isn't spent frivolously ever. We monitor everything, and we come to you for approvals. So for the folks who don't think there's a process, there's a very stringent and professional process that happens. And so I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that and invite anyone who has some interest in coming, who's disgruntled about these, the two folks who are disgruntled about the arts and the money that the county provides for the arts. I'd be happy to speak with them at the Putnam Arts Council. You can call me, make an appointment. Maybe they have some ideas of something we're not offering that would float their boat. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Patty Foley. I'm the mayor of Cold Spring.
Mayor?
Hi. Thank you very much for your work tonight, legislator.
We can hear you.
I'm happy tonight to say thanks to multiple legislators who had the backs of the towns and villages tonight. So thank you to those of you who did. Frivolous or something similar was used earlier in the evening in discussion of towns and villages and how we spend and how you need to oversee how we might spend a share of sales tax. I'm going to tell you that you don't have any idea what it means to have to be thrifty and spend. My entire village runs on more than $1 million less than you just gave away tonight. That's police, fire, recreation, water, wastewater, roadways and facilities. All of that, we do all of that on about $3.8 million. You are hoarding money here. It's money that was raised in our towns and in our villages. You sit on it, you play with it like it's a toy, and we have real problems to solve, real issues to solve. Your constituents are our constituents. I can't begin to understand how it is that Legislator Yonke and others say things like, our constituents, your constituents, like they're not ours too. So please, find it in your hearts to find a way to help us fix the dams, upgrade the water treatment systems, fix the roadways, all the things that county government is supposed to do, right? Policing services, jail, public health, infrastructure. We need your help on infrastructure and we need our money back. Thank you.
Again, all things are decided. All is okay. The town wish to decide the agenda item on which you wish to speak.
And if anyone else wants if anybody else wants to sign in, feel free to grab the sign-in sheet so that way we don't take time away from anybody else. Thank you. Sorry, sir.
Okay, my name is Peter. I'm a resident of Mayapack.
Officer check-in. That's not allowed. Okay, so I think maybe we should. Wait a minute, so can everybody hear?
Madam Chair, why don't we just wait here for a moment?
Well, just wait a minute. I would want to be able to